Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually listened to how you talk to yourself? I mean, really paid attention. Because if you did, you might be shocked at what you hear. And here's the deal here. Words are shaping your life in ways you don't even realize. Every time you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, your brain believes you. Every time you think, I can't do this, you make it true. But here's the good news. If your words have the power to hold you back, then guess what? They also have the power to set you free. And that's exactly what we're going to do for the next 3 days. Because for 3 days, I want you to change the way you talk to yourself. Just 3 days. And if you commit to this, I promise you your confidence, your energy, your entire reality will shift. So here's what we're going to do. For the next 3 days, I want you to talk to yourself the way you would talk to your best friend. Think about it. If your best friend was struggling, would you say, wow, you're such a failure? No. You'd tell them you've got this. You're strong. You always figure it out. But when it comes to ourselves, we are our own worst critics. That stops now. First, you need to start your day with power. Before your feet even hit the floor in the morning, I want you to say out loud, I am capable. I am in control. Today is going to be a great day. And I don't care if you don't believe it yet, say it anyway. Because repetition rewires the brain. Your mind doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. It only knows what you repeat. Now, throughout your day, every time you catch yourself thinking something negative, stop. Interrupt the pattern. If you hear yourself saying, I'm so bad at this, I want you to say, I'm learning and I'm getting better. If you start thinking, I'm not good enough, replace it with, I am more than enough. And when that little voice tries to convince you that you're stuck, you tell it, I always figure things out. And at night, before you go to sleep, I want you to celebrate yourself. Look back at your day and find one thing, just one that you did well. Maybe you handled a stressful situation better than usual. Maybe you made progress on something important. Maybe you just showed up even when you didn't feel like it. Whatever it is, acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I am proud of me. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Mel, this sounds too simple, but let me tell you something. The simplest things are often the most powerful because the way you talk to yourself is the foundation of everything. You cannot build a confident, successful life on a foundation of self-doubt. And you sure as hell can't move forward if the voice in your head is constantly holding you back. So here's your challenge 3 days. 3 days of speaking to yourself like someone you love. 3 days of replacing self-doubt with self-belief. 3 days of interrupting negative thoughts and choosing better ones. And after 3 days, you tell me what happens. Because I can promise you this, you will feel different. You will stand taller. You will start seeing proof that you are capable. And once you see that proof, there's no going back. So are you in? Are you ready to change the conversation in your head and change your life? Good, because this starts now. Think about the way you talk to yourself on a daily basis. If someone else spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would you tolerate it? Would you allow a friend, a partner, or a stranger to call you a failure, to tell you you're not good enough, to constantly remind you of every mistake you've ever made? Of course not. But for some reason, when that voice is coming from inside our own heads, we accept it as truth. The words you say to yourself shape the way you see yourself, and the way you see yourself determines everything, how you show up, what you believe you're capable of, and what you allow yourself to go after. If you're constantly feeding yourself negativity, don't be surprised when negativity shows up in your life. When you say, I can't do this, you're not just describing a feeling, you're reinforcing a belief. And beliefs drive behavior. When you believe you're not good enough, you don't take action. When you believe you're going to fail, you don't even try. Here's the truth. Your mind is always listening. Every time you repeat something, whether it's good or bad, your brain locks it in as fact. Your subconscious doesn't argue with you. It just absorbs what you tell it. If you keep telling yourself you're bad with money, you'll continue making financial mistakes. If you tell yourself you're not attractive, you'll carry yourself like someone who isn't. And if you repeatedly say, I'll never be successful, you'll prove yourself right, not because you aren't capable, but because you've already decided you're not. Now, imagine if you flip the script. Imagine if instead of tearing yourself down, you started building yourself up. What if you replaced I'm not good enough with I am more than enough? What if instead of saying I'll never figure this out, you told yourself I'm learning and I'm getting better every day? At first, it might feel uncomfortable, maybe even fake, but repetition rewires your brain. The more you say something, the more your brain believes it. And once you believe something, you start acting in alignment with that belief. Let's talk about identity. Every action you take is driven by how you see yourself. If you see yourself as someone who's always struggling, you'll keep making choices that keep you stuck. But if you start telling yourself, I'm someone who figures things out, you'll approach challenges differently. When you start saying, I am disciplined, you'll begin to act like someone who is disciplined. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing words that support the person you want to become. This is why the words you use matter. If you keep saying, I'm so lazy, you're giving yourself permission to stay lazy. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not smart enough, you'll never step into situations where you need to grow. But the second you start saying, I am capable, your brain starts looking for proof. And once you see proof, you start to believe it. Think about professional athletes. Do you think they stand in front of a mirror and say, I'll probably lose today? Number, they speak to themselves with confidence before they have proof. They say, I am strong, I am prepared, I am ready. And because they repeat it over and over, they start to believe it. And when they believe it, they show up with that energy. You can do the exact same thing. So starting now, I want you to become aware of the words you use. Every time you catch yourself saying something negative, interrupt it. Replace it with something that supports you instead of tearing you down. And if it feels weird at first, that's okay. Keep going. Your brain will adjust. Speak to yourself like someone you love. Because once you change the way you talk to yourself, you will change the way you see yourself. And when you change the way you see yourself, you will change your life. Your brain is always listening, absorbing, and internalizing the words you say to yourself. It doesn't question whether something is true or not. It simply takes repeated thoughts and phrases as instructions. This is why the way you speak to yourself is so powerful. Every time you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I always mess up, or I'll never be successful, your brain accepts those words as facts and looks for ways to reinforce them. Think about this. Your mind is like a computer, and the words you use are the programming language. If you keep feeding it negative commands, it will run negative programs. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm a failure, your brain will scan your past and present for evidence that supports that statement. It will remind you of every mistake, every setback, every moment of doubt, and it will ignore any proof that contradicts that belief. That's why people get stuck in cycles of low confidence and self-doubt. They are reinforcing limiting beliefs without even realizing it. But here's the good news. This works in the opposite direction too. Just like negative words can trap you, positive words can free you. Your brain also believes and acts on positive reinforcement. If you start telling yourself, I am capable, your brain will look for proof that supports that. If you say, I can handle challenges, your brain will remind you of past moments where you pushed through difficulty and succeeded. Repetition is the key. If you say something once, it might feel forced. If you say it 10 times, it starts to sink in. But if you say it 100 times, it becomes part of you. This is how the brain rewires itself. The more you repeat something, the stronger that belief becomes. You don't need to feel confident right away. You just need to practice speaking with confidence. Over time, your brain will catch up and your actions will start reflecting the new beliefs you're creating. Let's put this into real life context. Imagine you have a big presentation at work and your first instinct is to think, I'm terrible at public speaking. I'm going to mess this up. The second you say that, your brain starts looking for evidence to support it. Maybe it reminds you of a time you stumbled over your words or a time someone didn't seem engaged in your speech. Your body reacts to those thoughts too. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and you feel anxious before you even start. Now, let's flip the script. Instead of reinforcing fear, what if you told yourself, I am prepared. I know my material. I can do this. Even if you don't fully believe it at first, saying it repeatedly changes the way you feel about the situation. Your brain starts searching for supporting evidence. Maybe it reminds you of a time you spoke confidently or a time you got positive feedback. Your posture shifts, your energy changes, and you walk into that presentation with a completely different mindset. This doesn't just apply to big moments, it applies to everything. The way you talk to yourself in small moments throughout the day adds up. If you constantly tell yourself, I never follow through, don't be surprised when you struggle to stay consistent with your goals. If you keep saying, I'll never be in shape, you'll sabotage your own efforts before you even begin. But the moment you start saying, I am committed or I am becoming stronger every day, you give your brain new instructions to follow. You are always in control of the words you choose. No one else can change the way you talk to yourself, only you can. And if you commit to shifting your inner dialogue, even just for 3 days, you will start to see the effects. You'll notice that you carry yourself differently. You'll feel more capable, more resilient, and more in control. Because once your words shift, your mindset follows. And when your mindset shifts, your actions change. And when your actions change, everything changes. Confidence isn't something you wait to feel, it's something you create with your words and actions. The way you speak to yourself determines the way you carry yourself, the risks you take, and the goals you go after. If you talk to yourself with doubt, you'll move through life hesitantly, questioning your abilities at every turn. But if you speak to yourself with certainty, you'll show up with energy, resilience, and the belief that you can figure things out. Most people assume that confidence comes from accomplishments, but that's not true. Confidence isn't built from the outside and it's built from the inside out. It starts with the way you talk to yourself before you even take action. If you tell yourself, I'm terrible at interviews, you'll walk into an interview with that energy and your nerves will take over. But if you start saying, I bring value to this conversation, you'll carry yourself differently, making you more engaging and in control. The shift happens in your mind before it ever happens in the real world. Think about how people you admire speak. Do they constantly say, I don't know if I'm good enough or I can't do this number? They project confidence even before they have proof. That's not because they have something special that you don't. It's because they've trained themselves to think that way. And you can do the same thing. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting to feel confident before they take action. They think, once I feel ready, then I'll go for it. But that's not how it works. If you wait to feel confident, you'll be waiting forever. Confidence is a byproduct of action. You start by speaking with confidence even when it feels forced. You say, I can handle this even when you're nervous. You tell yourself, I always figure things out even when you're not sure how. And when you repeat those words enough, your brain starts to believe them. Your words create the energy you bring into a situation. If you wake up saying, ugh, today's going to be awful, how do you think your day will go? You'll subconsciously look for things to complain about. But if you wake up saying, today is an opportunity for something great, you'll find reasons to feel good. Your words are programming your brain to notice the things that reinforce your beliefs. Athletes, performers, and successful people understand this. Before a big game or event, they don't sit around saying, I hope I don't mess up. They say, I am prepared. I am ready. I am strong. They use words to prime their brains for success. And because they've trained themselves to think this way, they step into their moment fully prepared to own it. If you want to change the way you show up in life, start by changing your words. Speak to yourself with certainty. Instead of saying, I hope I can do this, say, I will do this. Instead of saying, I'm not sure if I'm ready, say, I'm capable of figuring this out. Stop letting doubt run the conversation. The words you choose create the mindset you carry, and the mindset you carry determines the way you move.